What we have here today is the login operation for our Mino app for previous projects. We have here the working project, a prologue of the system when finished. The program is now running. The initial state of the models are not except the login and symbol. In order to activate these models, we have to log in first. Click login, and we have to supply the password and username. The password is right here, can be found at the class. So it's right here. The first one is next. Let's try to navigate the Rodos account. Username is Rodo. It's now trying to login. Okay. Once it has successfully logged in, the owner will change its state account, and the state of the models here are inactive. However, just for the file has not coded in, the calculator has coded. So let's try to play that calculator. The calculator is right here. One's function here are the operations. Plus, minus, divide, and times, and of course the one inside. And then leave some other operation. Okay. Calculator operation. Of course, the score doesn't burn. So let's try to log out. Okay. Once I click log out, locks the buttons. They are no longer usable. They can be used again to try to log in, but not log out. Let's try to log in to see how to create an account. Okay. Let's try to click log in and then click sign up. And since we don't have the code yet for a create account, I click OK here for the data source. Since no code we don't encode it yet, let's just do the cancel. Close. Okay. Okay. That's it for now. Okay. This is the use case diagram previously discussed. And then this is the use case narrative as stated in our prologue. The scene 2 when it is invalid, the scene 3 when it creates an account. So let's have a review on our project components. The project components that we have already, we have 4 forms. Tapos we have 3 classes. The first form is the form main, the second one is the form login, and then form create account, and then form calculator. We have 3 classes. We have class users as the parent class, and then the class data saver as the child class or the inherent class, and of course the class calculator. What we will see next is a C# implementation. We use the Visual Studio 2012 as our integrated development environment, and the language is C# and the framework is .NET 4.5. Now for our form designs, we have form main, and then we have the form login, and then we have the form create account, and then lastly we have the form calculator. Now for the details of our form main, we have 5 buttons and 1 panel. One button for the exit, as the exit button, the login button, and of course the 3 buttons inside the panel, which is the calculator, the class cheeseboard, and the file handling buttons. Now the details are of the object properties is on the right side. Now for the details of our form login, we have the title label, which is the login, the sign up button, and of course the user password label and the user password text box. And we have 2 buttons, the OK and cancel button. Details of the object property setting is on the right side. Now for our form create account, we have 6 labels, 5 text box, and 2 buttons. I leave the details for you. And we have the form calculator. We have previously done this one. We have the 1 text box and we have 28 buttons. And for the codes for our form main, we have 3 buttons already coded and we have 2 buttons not yet coded. The first one is the exit click event, which the code is as simple as this, that close. And for our button calc click, we just have to instantiate the calculator object, the form calculator object, and let it show. And then for our button login click, this is somewhat long, but we will discuss line by line. For the first line, we instantiate the login form, naming it to L, and then after instantiating the login form, we check whether the user has already logged in or not. Now, if he has already logged in, then it goes to the else area, and if he has not logged in yet, it goes to the next line. So it calls if the user has not been logged in yet, it calls the instance of a login form and checks whether the OK button is being clicked. When the OK button is clicked, it instantiates the data saver class, passing the username and password parameter. And then after that one, the data saver checks the account whether it is in the list. When it is in the listing, the panel 1 enabled property is set to true, or the minnow container is enabled, and then the button login text is set to log out. Now, if the user has already logged in, the button login text is set to log in and the minnow container is disabled. Now for our codes for form login, there is one event that's both to sign up click. What the first code is the instantiation of the form create account and then showing it. And then for our form create account code, let us leave it for the next session. Now for our form calculator code, we have three events: the form calculator form load event, the numeric click event, and the operation click event. For our form load event, we initialize the event handler for the numeric class and for the operation class, including the equality sign. And for our numeric class, the first line is typecasting the sender object to a button and naming it to SN. After naming it to SN, you instantiate the numeric subclass of the class calculator, and then pass the first character of the sender object, the text of the sender object, the first character of the sender object, and then name it to num, and then set the display. And then for our operation click, we have the first line is the instantiation of the sender of the typecasting of the sender object, and then naming it to SN. Now on the second line, it checks whether it is an equality sign. If it is an equality sign, if the first character of the sender object text is the equality sign, the display area is set to the operation result, and the first value is also set to the operation result. Now when the first character of the sending text is not equal to the equality sign, that means the plus, the minus, the divide, and the multiply symbols are being clicked, then the OP click method is called, and the display area is set to 0. Now for our class calculator, we have two subclasses. We have the numeric subclass and the operation subclass. For our numeric class, we have one attribute, which is the sender, and we have a class constructor, which is the parameter is a sender, and we have a method that is a click method. And then for our operation subclass, we have three attributes: the operation character, and the integer value 1 and the integer value 2. For our method, we have the OP click for the operation button, for the operation characters, and we have the result for the equality sign character. Now for our class user, which is the parent class or the base class, the first three set of data or three set of attributes are the user profile, and the second set is the user accounts. The modifier is protected for us to access in the child class these attributes. And for our child class, we have the class data saver. The first line is an array of string, which is a temporary storage for our user account listings. Now, if we have knowledge already of databases and text file handling, this could be stored in there as a source file. And then for our second attribute is a session ID. It's not yet used yet. And for the three sets of temporary memory attributes, and then the next line is a constructor class for the class data saver with parameters of the username and a password. And inside the class data saver constructor is the parent. The attribute is from the parent initialized in here. And for our first method, we have the load account. The very function of the load account is just to classify user ID from username and the password. And for the second method, we have the initialization of the temporary memory attributes to an empty string. And the third method is checking the account whether it is in the listings of the user accounts. And the last two methods we have not yet coded yet. That's all for today. Thank you and good day.